So what are the fundamentals of emotional intelligence? So when I originally learned about emotional intelligence, it was first when I was handed Daniel Goleman's book about emotional intelligence. And he talks about the various fundamentals. I suppose you can talk, you can also call them pillars or the structure or whatever you want to call fundamentals, but the foundation of what makes a person emotionally intelligent. And I've added on a fundamental that Daniel Goleman has not mentioned before. So let's look at the fundamentals of what makes a person emotionally intelligent and what contributes to that emotional intelligence. Well, the first fundamental is being aware. Now, simply, that just means being aware of yourself, being aware of how you feel, how you act, how you behave. It just really means being self-aware, being you, and why you do the things you do, why you think the way you do, and why you feel and act the way you do. And sometimes we think that all of this is out of our control, but it really, really isn't, especially when you start learning the language of emotional intelligence, because everything that happens, if you think about depression or any kind of mental health problem or challenge that you have, is that it all starts here. It's all in this part, and then it affects this part. So our thoughts are based on interpretations. Our thoughts are based on what has happened to us in the past. Our thoughts are based on observations. Our thoughts are based on what's going on around us and whether we believe and accept the information that has been given to us, what happens in the media, what our parents and our caregivers and our family. So all of that stuff, this little processing center that you have, which is called your brain, with all of this going on, that's creating the thoughts and that's creating the feelings. Now, I just want to go back to what I was talking about earlier about a bit more about the science and to explain that there is a difference between your brain and your mind. So your brain is very much the hardware. So if you think about a laptop or if you think about your phone, and the mind is the software or the apps that gets put into the hardware. So when we make up those interpretations, when we add meaning to our life, when we perceive things in a certain way, that's what's actually creating the apps that then run in the background the whole time. And that is why it's so important for you to become aware of it. Because think about your laptop or think about your phone, right? Your laptop comes pre-programmed. It's got all this hardware, and then you add Microsoft Windows or whatever you work with, and then you add another app, and then you add another app. You don't ever think about those apps that run because the apps are telling your hardware what to do. So your mind does the same thing. So when those apps or those programs are being downloaded, and they're usually downloaded as beliefs, those beliefs are running in the background all the time without you even knowing it. So let me give you an example. So say, for instance, something happened to you when you were a child and somebody said something to you, they called you a loser, and you believed them and you thought, oh, I am a loser. There's something wrong with me. Why are they calling me a loser? And the more you think about it, the more you believe it, and the more you're making it so. So that has now created an app or a program, and it's downloaded into your unconscious mind, which runs more than 90% of your mind. You forget about it, but it's still sending these messages the whole time. It's telling your body how to feel. Your feelings are telling your emotions how to act, and then your behavior is acting accordingly. So think about it this way. If you've seen somebody who doesn't feel good about themselves or they think they're a loser, they walk in a certain way. They talk in a certain way. They don't have good self-confidence. They don't have good self-esteem. People who also don't believe that they're good people, or that they sometimes act very arrogantly or very in an angry way. So there's various things and ways that people act depending on what they believe about themselves. So your beliefs are your apps. But if you're not aware of how you're acting, behaving, thinking, or feeling, you're not going to be able to change that app. And the only way that you can access your mind is by understanding your feelings, because the mind is this deep, dark place, and you can access it. I can promise you that. And you can change those beliefs, but you only ever become aware of your beliefs and your apps by becoming aware of your feelings. So self-awareness is the number one fundamental of becoming emotionally intelligent. So start paying attention to how you're feeling. And then also part of that is by becoming feeling literate. So feeling literate, like I spoke in a video before, is that learning that language, right? So you need to know what the words are. You need to know what the words mean, and you need to know what the word feels like, what that feeling word feels like in your body. So it's about looking at the word and going, hope. Oh, what does that feel like in my body? And connecting those dots. Because if you can't match the feeling to the word, you're not going to be very self-aware, and you're also not going to become feeling literate. So step one of becoming self-aware is to start feeling what you're feeling in your body, what you're doing, what you're thinking, and knowing the words to express what is going on with all of this. Because only once you do that, then you can change it around, and you can change that app or change that program by changing that belief. I hope that makes sense to you. So that was fundamental one of becoming emotionally intelligent. In the next video, I'll tell you about fundamental 2 and what you can do to take that step to activate or to understand that fundamental. I'll see you then.